WNBA ratings' worst nightmare just came true because it was just announced that Caitlin Clark will be out for the rest of the season. She's only played 13 games this season, and her most recent injury, which happened back in July, was a groin injury. The craziest part about all of this has been the reporting around her injury. The team has never given her a timetable for return. Some fans were even speculating that they've just been stringing fans along the whole time because they know that ratings and attendance would drop once they announced that she's out, which is also so ironic that they announced it the day that football season's.
The WNBA just got hit with the kind of news nobody wanted to hear, and at the center of it is Caitlin Clark. The league's numbers are falling apart, TV ratings are dropping fast, ticket sales are slowing down, and what was once called a growth era is now looking more like hype than reality. Indiana was the only team keeping the league's momentum alive, and now their biggest star is gone.
Oh, it's official. The most heartbreaking news for Indiana Fever fans that could come of the season, but Caitlin Clark will not be returning to the 2025 WNBA season. She took the liberty of posting it herself because there were many people asking to hear from Caitlin Clark, to hear how she felt about the entire.
Caitlin Clark announced that she will not be returning for the 2025 season after suffering a season-ending injury. Fans had been waiting to hear directly from her, and she finally gave her update. She explained that she worked every day in the gym with the goal of returning, but the setback was too much. Clark said she was frustrated and disappointed but grateful for the fans who supported her and the Fever all year.
Share a better update, but I will not be returning to play the season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I'm feeling. I want to thank everyone who has had my back through all this uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. And the way the fans continue to show up for me and for the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I'm so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through adversity this year.
She also praised her team for growing stronger through tough times. This one announcement crushed the league's hopes. Clark was the main attraction. Every game, every broadcast, every headline revolved around her. With her gone, the WNBA's biggest selling point is gone too. The numbers tell the story. When Clark was playing, Indiana's games averaged about 1.26 million viewers. After her injury in July, ratings collapsed to around 400,000 per.
Largely ignored by sports media, not considered a real professional league, to the point where people didn't even know it existed until CC22. That's just a fact. You can't believe how many times I have people come in the chat and say, I didn't even know that there was a professional women's basketball league until Caitlin. Yeah, it's the fact.
Per game. That's a 70% drop, and those numbers came while fans were still holding on to hope she might return. Now that she's officially out for the season, things look even worse. The WNBA built its rise on Clark, and without her, Caitlin Clark and the Fever said she tried everything to get back on the court, but time ran out. She couldn't get her body to a place where she felt confident enough to play, and with the season wrapping up and the playoffs coming, the news hit like a gut punch. The Fever have dealt with injuries all season.
And Clark saying that she tried to get back on the floor. It appears that she just ran out of time, not able to get enough confidence back in her body as the season wraps up and the playoffs are likely about to begin for Indiana. I mean, it's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury, but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent.
But nothing compares to losing Clark. After her incredible rookie year, fans were waiting to see how she'd top it in her second season. Instead, the league is left looking empty without her. The WNBA doesn't feel like a professional league right now. It feels like it's barely hanging on, scrambling to keep fans interested. When Clark sat out, ratings dropped another 40%.
This has been a huge disaster as far as public perception for the WNBA. An entirely new group of people started tuning in to this league for one player and one player only. In fact, so many new people tuned into this league, the viewership for the Caitlin Clark games largely surpassed anything else going on in the WNBA. I would argue that the amount of Caitlin Clark fans are at least 3.
That's not just a dip. It shows how dependent the league is on one player. The WNBA had the chance to prove it could stay strong without her, but instead, it collapsed. It's a disaster for how people see the league. Most of the new fans who started watching did it for one reason: Caitlin Clark. Her games outdrew almost everything else in the WNBA. By some counts, her fan base is 3 times larger than the league's entire existing audience. Even the commissioner calls her the most popular athlete in America. But that popularity comes with a big problem. If the whole league depends on one player, every injury becomes a crisis. Now imagine the playoffs or the finals without
the return versus the Minnesota Lynx, supposedly, and then the Scott Agneses and all them start talking about she suffered a bone bruise in Phoenix. I told y'all it was a wrap. It was done. It was done. They knew it. And I believe they've known far longer. They have known. They've kept us fans in the dark, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. Man, I was so looking forward to watching Caitlin Clark play this season. Now we have to wait an entire offseason, and we don't even know what's going to happen. There might be a lockout. There might not even be a 2026 season.
Instead of big-time events, they're going to look like regular scrimmages. The Fever are barely holding on in 7th place, and without Clark, they don't have a shot at the finals. A team that was supposed to compete for a championship is now just another average squad, and no one outside Indiana will be tuning in. Fans are frustrated, too. Rumors about her injury dragged on for weeks, and some believe the team knew all along she wouldn't return but kept quiet.
She knows just how much she means to everybody that buys those tickets. I mean, I would say at least like 90 to maybe not 95, but like 90% of the people in arenas were there to see Caitlin Clark, which of course they became fans of the Fever afterwards. But you know, Caitlin Clark is the draw. And then here's this one where she's actually in her street clothes. And yeah, these are, you know, pretty heartfelt photos. Her in the huddle with her teammates. But I gotta say, this was quite a year. I mean, there came a certain point where people, including myself, were just like, what is actually going on?
People feel left in the dark, and now they're stuck waiting until next season, not even knowing if there will be one because of possible labor issues. The financial impact is massive. One sports economist estimated Clark could bring in around $1 billion in a single season, not just for the Fever but across the league, through TV deals, merchandise, ticket sales, and tourism. She became a global figure, selling out NBA-sized arenas and moving jerseys faster than Nike could stock them. Meanwhile, most of the league's players are still struggling to land sponsorships. The gap between Clark and everyone else couldn't be clearer. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player in the WNBA, she is the WNBA. She's the reason people bought tickets, tuned in, and cared. Most fans in the arena were there to see her, not anyone else. Sure, some became Fever fans afterward, but
this season has been a complete train wreck. This season's been a complete disaster. We got the GOAT, who only played 13 games, missed basically the whole season. DeWanna Bonner scammed us. Natasha Howard basically scammed us. Stephanie White's a liar. Amber Cox is a liar. Kelly Krauskopf's a liar. Now we have to go a whole offseason with the front office we don't trust, we don't believe in, we can't believe anything they say, and we don't know what's really going to happen with Caitlin Clark.
Let's be honest, Clark was the main draw. This season turned into a mess. At first, everyone was asking, what's really going on with her injury? Now the panic is real. Last year, players spent more time targeting Clark, throwing cheap shots, hard fouls, and trash talk, than building up their own games. They thought knocking her down would elevate them, but now she's gone, and so is the attention. The truth is simple, the WNBA put all its hopes on Clark but didn't protect her. She took more hard hits than anyone else, with nearly 1 out of 5 flagrant fouls in the league called against her. That's no accident, it was a pattern. And the referees let it slide. Now the only real star is sidelined, and the league is left with empty seats, falling ratings, and sponsors second-guessing their deals. Fans are frustrated. Clark only played part of the season, and the front office hasn't been honest. Trust is gone. Meanwhile, the league tried to hype up fake rivalries and storylines to replace her, but no one cared. Without Clark, even big matchups felt flat. The Chicago Sky, in one of the biggest cities in America, could barely pull 6,000 people.
Clark was hurt after that Liberty game. That's when they should have said, we need to wait this out until the All-Star break. But instead, they worried about their ticket sales, TV ratings, and all this stuff. So they actually had Caitlin Clark come back a couple weeks earlier than expected, and I think that's the real reason why she's out. They mismanaged this entire season. I don't respect the GM. I don't respect the president anymore. I really don't respect the coach. They all lied on false pretense. That's all they did. They kept lying and lying and kept stringing Caitlin Clark like a carrot on a string. And all these fans kept going to the games hoping that she'll come
to games in an arena built for almost 10,000. The collapse showed in ticket prices, too. Before one big matchup in June, resale tickets were going for $86. As soon as news broke that Clark wouldn't play, those prices dropped to $25 in 2 days. In Washington, it was even worse. The Mystics moved a game to a bigger arena in Baltimore just because Clark was supposed to play. When she didn't, tickets went from $41 to $1. That's not just a drop, that's embarrassing. This all comes back to one mistake: the league pushed Clark back too soon. After her injury in the Liberty game, she should have been given real recovery time, maybe until after the All-Star break. But instead of protecting her, the league worried about ticket sales and TV ratings. They rushed her back, and now she's out for the season. The Fever completely mishandled this season. The GM, the president, and the coach kept stringing fans along.
A huge blow for the Fever, but also for the entire WNBA. Caitlin was out with an injury back in June. Viewership dropped over 50% across the league. That's the kind of effect that she has on things. And it seems like from her post and how they announced it, Caitlin was the one that was trying so hard to get back on the court. She has traveled to every single away game. She's always meeting with fans, taking photos, signing autographs, doing all of the things because she knows how many people come out specifically to see her. But I'm really interested to see what viewership and attendance looks like now that it's official that she's done.
Giving false hope that Caitlin Clark would return. They lied, and fans kept showing up thinking she'd be back any day. Then came the worst news at the worst time. Clark's season officially ended right as the playoffs were coming up. With her, the Fever had a real shot at a title. Without her, they're barely hanging on. She was the engine, the star, and the reason arenas were packed. Now, all that's gone, and the Fever are just trying to limit the damage. The impact goes far beyond one team. Fans who bought tickets, made travel plans, and tuned in only because of Clark are giving up. The phrase popping up everywhere online is, "If she's out, I'm out." That's a nightmare for the league. Casual fans are walking away.
It has been a full circle moment for the WNBA. With all the chatter of Kathy Engelbert saying, oh, if one player gets injured, one player, well, you have it. That one player got injured. And now you have it. There's no conversation around the league. No positive, no negative, no conversation at all. The only media talking about the WNBA are the content creators, are the YouTubers, are people with podcasts, people with their own shows, etc., etc. But you go on to ESPN, nobody's talking about the W. You go on to Fox Sports, nobody's talking about the W. The WNBA has managed to turn off a fan base that would have elevated this